This one, right?
Okay. Hello, everyone.
Okay.
Welcome here.
Hello, everyone.
Tyler.
Welcome here. My name is Tyler.
And I am
here at Decor,
graphic
and I am
designers.
one of the graphic
Today
designers
I'm
here.
joined with Craig, and
Today I'm
Monica.
joined with Craig, and I'm joined with Monica.
Yes. And today we're going to be talking
Morning.
about
Yes.
CSR,
And today we're going to be talking
tips
about
and tricks.
CSR,
Just
tips
some
and
housekeeping
tricks.
notes first of all.
Just some housekeeping notes first of all. I have our
tablet here.
handy dandy tablet here with us. So that means when you guys have questions, please feel free to put them in the chat. We are going to be answering them right away. We're not going to be waiting until the end this time. I'll just kind of let Craig or Monica know, and we'll answer those right here live stream right away. Okay, so diving into it. So you as the designer,
homeowner, and dreaming up a beautiful kitchen, but now it's time to send that order over to your CSR here at Decor. But as you guys have the most knowledge about that dream kitchen, we really need you guys to be specific with those details. And we are here today to help you guys be more specific with those details, with some tips and tricks that you guys can send over when you're doing that order to your CSR. So I'm just going to open up the floor here to Craig and Monica, and they'll kind of start our way on this presentation here. So take it away.
All right. So myself and Monica are here to present a little bit about some tips and tricks. First, I'll introduce Monica. She's been at Decor this year. It'll be 8 years, right?
8 years. Yeah,
8 years.
8 years.
She's been here for 8 years. She is a great resource here at Decor. She knows a ton of stuff. She's very good at helping out our designers as well as our CSRs. So yeah, we're here to teach you a little bit.
Yeah, and introducing Craig. Craig has been here 29 years, so he knows everything. Basically,
Well,
he's not like, oh no, he knows everything, and he's not the best resource, but probably one of the best resources here at Decor. So
That's
yeah,
awesome.
so he's my person to go when I have questions. So
Great.
yeah.
Awesome. So yeah, as Tyler said, if you guys have questions during the chat or during the webinar, feel free to put your question in the chat, and we will get those answered right away. All right, let's start off here. All right, so our agenda for today, first thing we're going to talk about
Talking about submitting an order, what should be attached to this?
Sure, great question, Tyler.
No sound, just a minute.
Oh,
No sound.
no
Great.
sound.
Okay, 1 second. Please wait.
So I have to start again. Let's go.
Yeah, we have to start over.
We'll have to, well,
Kind of rewind.
This
just
could be
to-
this could be in the deleted scenes or the outtakes.
yeah.
Some of the humorous stuff.
Yeah.
I was going to mention that the bathrooms are to the left for the housekeeping.
Oh, interesting. Good.
Okay.
Oh, I wonder if you mentioned that then.
Yeah, we might have.
Okay.
That's fine. Okay. So we'll get into the. Do we just start?
Yes, it started. It has been said that it started when the PowerPoint was turned off. So let's start again from the PowerPoint. So
from the PowerPoint.
yeah, let's go. Let's just kind of go back one slide.
This one here.
Yeah,
Start
let's
here.
start,
Okay.
start there. Yeah.
So as it relates to the agenda for today, so what we're going to talk about is what happens prior to submission, before submitting the order, the acknowledgement process itself, when the order has been signed off, post sign off, as well as when the order has been delivered.
Yes, and then I asked the question. Now the sound is back. Is what needs to be attached when submitting that order?
Sure, that's a great question. So
Yeah, we have like put 4 points there, but it could be more things. But detail numbered elevation. So we ask specifically for elevations to be attached to the order, so we can check many things on the order out of the elevations. We will go into detail about that one. And then appliance specs, when we have like a microwave, oven, fridges, something that we have to check, or hood cabinets as well. And custom quotes, if you have had any quotes in advance, those should be attached, or at least mention the number of the quote, So we can just quickly go and find that quote and then have exactly what you need for that item. And a special request could be a variety of them. It could be a discount, or it could be a job site delivery, or it could be other stuff like special colors that you want for that job, that it should be in advance or it should be at the same time of entering the order. But any specific request that is different from, I don't know, normal,
Sure.
it will be attached to that,
Yeah.
to that as information.
Good.
Okay.
All right, so when you're looking at an elevation, we have a couple of examples here of what you may, or what we like to see when you send in elevations. So a few things you'll notice is on the top left, you will see each cabinet is labeled with a number, and you'll also see that some of them have circles and some have triangles or squares on them, so you can see that there's different, depending on the spec group or the different room or part of the room that you're doing or the color, you can see that it's labeled differently, so you can see what will go with what. And then on the right side, you can see a few different examples of some exploded items from those cabinets, some wine pull-out drawer storage, and then on the bottom left, there's a wine cooler cabinet as well as a fridge cabinet, so you can see some examples there as to what designers might send in, so they know exactly, or we would know exactly what they're looking for.
Yeah, so in this particular one, let's say that they are combining two different door styles. That's why there are two different spec groups. So
Right.
you have the circle one is the different spec group, so it is V106, and then the diamond, let's say, those other ones, they are like V175. So, and that is perfectly clear. It gets all you need with the dimensions at the bottom, and as well there are like those sketches or the interior of the cabinets or anything that is behind those fronts, right? So it gives us all the details, and we see what we have to check. Let's say that you have that fridge or that appliance there that you have to check. Oh, what's first
Right.
the specs, and then if there's if we have to line up all those other fronts with
Right.
it, we will get all information there. And of course, the number is crucial, because then we don't guess which item we are
Right.
looking at. If we have the same elevations with no numbers, we will be looking, okay, those two fronts are this one, or, you know, so that kind of things, it makes it very clear. You go directly to see which item. So we just do a printout of our PDF, like the list of items, and we just check against those elevations. So that's really help us a
For
lot.
sure. And then on the next page, we have another example where you can see on the bottom right again, there's the item numbers are marked, and you can see exactly what is needed. You can see dimensions. And on the left, you can see that the designer is looking for a canister pullout or a knife block pullout, as well as the specs for the curved hood cabinet. And so you can see exactly what they're using all those different things for. And on the top left, you can see the rendering of what it looks like. So yeah, it just shows you examples of, again, where things might be lining up, what exactly they're looking for. So it's just a good way for us to know exactly what you as a designer are looking for, and things that we can keep an eye on as we're going through the order itself.
Yeah, it also, for instance, when we have like those 3D renderings that they have colors, then we can see if you have all the cabinets that they are, like in this case, wood color in the right spec group, and the painted items or painted cabinets all in the right spec group, or there's something that is misplaced. Also in these ones, we have the interior of the cabinets with the attachments that they are visuals of
Right.
rev shelf units that they are outsourced. So sometimes even if we kind of like, I don't know if you can see, but the Venta hood liner, so it's the model number of the hood is there,
Right.
and as well, like sometimes we have like the model numbers or the reference from the supplier, so we know exactly what you want to add to that kitchen, to that cabinet, or to that particular kitchen. That helped us as well.
For sure. You bet.
So when we're looking at these two, I see a lot of elevation, and I'm wondering what an order would look like if it has elevation versus doesn't have an elevation. How do you, what kind of things are you looking at?
What kind of things we check when we have elevation
Sure.
or not?
So
Yeah.
if you look at an elevation like this, one thing we would look at for sure is the measurements. So you can see okay for number 8, for example, in the bottom right. You would see, okay, is this the cabinet they actually need? Is the size correct? Is the height correct? We'll look at things like if they have drawer fronts or doors matching up. Let's say they have a tall cabinet with a wall door above it. If the wall cabinet beside it, if they need those doors to line up. We're looking at information like that, making sure that if there's any finished sides, if on the far right of the run of cabinets, if there should be a finished side there, or if they're using a panel, things like that, making sure that the appliances match up based on what they have on the elevations, things like that. Those are some of the things we look at. Do you have any other things you can think of?
When we don't have elevations, for instance, we cannot be sure how you want to line up panels. Let's say that you have those cabinets on the right side that we can see there. They have like top doors and bottom doors. So those ones, if you are doing like a decorative panel at the side, we don't know if you are lining up with the top door, like the cross piece with the top door or not, and maybe notes are sometimes confusing, but if you send us that in the elevations, we see it right away.
Right.
Other things is that when we don't get elevations, what we do is that we just check individual cabinets. We don't check them like in combination of other cabinets. We don't know if the cabinets are in the correct spec group, if they are the correct color, if you are having like different species or something. So all those details, they are missed if we don't have elevations. For simple orders, maybe it's fine. If you have an order, let's say for a bathroom, and it's just 2 vanities, well, sometimes we don't really check further details. From elevations. We don't get any more information, but you never know. Sometimes there are things that you might miss. I don't know, like fillers that they are not correct size or something.
Or profiling. Things like that.
If there are no notes of explaining what you are doing, we really don't have a visual of it. You know all the details, but we know nothing about that order. It's coming as it is, and we just check individual cabinets, individual pieces without the complexity of putting everything together.
So that's where it's best if elevations are sent in, then at least we know kind of what you, the designer, are looking for. So
Wonderful.
Good. All right. So next we're going to touch base a little bit on paint chip samples. So we have a few different things that we want to talk about when it comes to paint chips. They are good for 2 years. We asked, it's always best if you can order them prior to submitting the order itself, just so it gives us enough time to get them through production. And we do send 2 samples at a time. One of them can be given to your end user, and the other one you can keep in your showroom. Now we're going to give a little more information about tracking those paint chips. So if you want to talk a little bit about this, Monica?
Yeah, you have this tool here in the website that you can just go to the main menu and say track paint chip samples. So here you have all the samples that you have ordered. There's a little let's say tool there that says last year, so you can remove that limit and check the 2 years, the last 2 years. That are the ones that you can use. So then you can just save some money, and then you don't have to order another one. That's why we are sending 2 samples, so you can keep one in the showroom, and you can use that to show to another customer and use that same color, without waiting for that sample to come and approve it and scan it. It's ready to use.
So if I'm a bit newer here, why is getting a paint chip sample so important?
So what we do with the paint chips is we make sure that the color that you've asked for from the fan deck will be the color that matches the paint chip itself, and then we actually link that to the order. So in the back they're taking that actual color of the paint chip. So for example, in one of these examples, you would have the vanilla frost color, let's say. They would make sure that vanilla frost color on the paint chip actually matches the order itself. So then you know that you're going to get your kitchen and it's going to be the color that you're expecting.
So, identical.
Yes, for sure. And again, these are good for 2 years, so you can use them on multiple orders, like Monica was saying. So if you have a client come in the next 4 months, let's say, and all of a sudden they're like, hey, I like this color you have on this little paint chip, and you can use it for that color, and it is a one-time $300 fee that can be used for up to 2 years.
So what happens if I want to use it after that, though? It's 2 years have passed. What happens if I want to use it after that?
Yeah, at that time you have to enter another request for a paint chip and pay the fee, and we will do a different one.
Sure.
Yeah. We just want to make
Yeah.
sure that the color is always up to date.
Yeah.
Yes.
And there's no issues with it aging and stuff. So yeah.
Great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's for the paint chips. And the stain, they are a little different,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, for the stain, the colors they are just you have to send us something so we can match that color. In general, we need a sample that is at least like, let's say 4x6
Yeah.
and a flat surface,
Mhm.
so they can check. Well, because sometimes when you send, for instance, a piece of molding or something that is curved, the light reflects in a different way.
Yes.
Or another thing is that the sample has to be kind of consistent in
Mhm.
color, because sometimes we have like a big sample and this area is darker and this area is lighter, and then
Yeah.
which one is, so some dealers, they say, okay, I tip this area and this is the match that I want, right? So just to make us clear what you need, so you have to send us that sample. Most of the times we can match the color. Sometimes there are colors that they are difficult, or so we need approval from custom finishing.
Yes.
They just review
Mhm.
the sample and say yes, we can do this color, or no, we cannot do it with the products that we are using. It's not possible. Once we have that, we assign like a development number. So we usually spread samples, like you order a sample door, and then we keep a sample door in our files as well, and we
Mhm.
keep the formula
Yeah.
for 1 year. So you can order that before submission, because this process takes time, especially when maybe the sample is a difficult color that maybe we haven't done it before. So maybe it takes 3 tries or 2 tries to get the color right. And then, yeah, once it's there, you receive your sample, and then you can just submit the order with that development number that we have done for that. For that sample door, you will have a label at the back that you can see that development number, and that's the one that you should be using for your order,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
So if you are using this for 1 year, and if, let's say, 5 years later you want to order something, so it's usually needed a new rematch usually.
Yes.
Because the colors, they change, especially stain, they change over time, so they can be discolored or just different. So we do a new
Yeah.
sample for those.
Mhm. Yes, you want to make sure the color is exactly what you're looking for, because as Monica said, colors tend to age over time.
Yeah.
So you just want to make sure that we're getting you the color that you
Yeah,
need.
and if
So-
we are doing a new sample, and we need again a sample from you, so we match the color. If you have like I don't know, the typical situation that, I'm ordering just a piece of Tokek, so I don't need it to be a perfect match. Well, in that case, maybe we don't need it. We keep the formula on file, and we can repeat the formula, but it's not guaranteed that it's a perfect match with what you have.
For sure. That's where it's always good if you could send us that color match, then we can make sure that it's going to get you what you need. So, mhm.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
I think that's
All right. Next, we'll dig into the acknowledgement process. So, the best way to send in changes is to mark up the acknowledgement we sent you. Now, this is the best way to reduce the chance of us missing things. So, an example we have on the left on the screen is what you can see of if a dealer sends in an email and says, hey, can you make these changes just with the body, in the body of the email. Now, the thing we have with that is if it's done in the body of the email, we have to preview the acknowledgement itself and make sure that we're catching anything that has been changed. Now, one of the things that may come up if we do it that way is if we have to change to a different code in order to make sure that the items are accurate. Let's say, for example, in this example on item number 3, where they wanted to add a finished left side, a recessed bottom floor, and let's say they had changed their width from 32 inches up to 34 inches. We would have to change the code itself, and in doing so, we have to make sure that we actually remember to put all the modifications in that were in there previously. So there is a chance that if we do it, if the designer sends in the request this way, there is a chance that things may get missed. So that's why we ask to be as concise as possible, and if you can send in the changes by marking up the acknowledgement itself, that would be the best way that we could do that.
Yeah, also just doing those changes like in wording, that they are explaining what they want, the customer is explaining what they want. Sometimes it can be confusing. If you are marking up in an actual acknowledgement, we know exactly what you want,
Right.
because you already kind of like crossed, oh, this I don't want. I want just, instead of 36, there is more a visual thing.
Right.
So it's easier, it's faster, and it is, less errors for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
So we'll go to the next page here and give an example of what we were talking about. So as you can see, this is an acknowledgement that would have been sent in, where it's marked up with pen as to the changes that are asked for. There is also an option in Adobe as well where you can actually type in changes and send them. Either way really works. Here you can see exactly what the changes are. You can see item number 14. They wanted to actually delete that item, and so you can put in your changes this way. This just allows for more clarity as to what we're looking for, what the designer's looking for. Allows for less back and forth as well, because we're trying to reduce the amount of back and forth in acknowledgements. So if it can be handwritten like this on the acknowledgement itself, it allows for less chance of error, allows for less acknowledgements going back and forth. So
another thing that maybe is for us is better, because so sometimes it's a long document, right? You have a long order, and it helps if it is all in one document. Sometimes I know that people sometimes work from home and they don't have like a scanner, or they don't have like the tools, and then they send a picture of each page. If it is 3 pages, maybe it's fine, but if you have a long document that you have 20 pages, 30 pages, 60 pages of pictures, each of them in a different document, then for us we can miss 3 pages. We are just opening the attachments as they go, but sometimes you have like 20, 30, and then you are missing 2 pages, and then we send back with half of the changes done. So that could happen as well. So it really is a good tool if you can put them together, if possible.
Right.
I know sometimes you don't have the tools working, I don't know, remote or whatever, but that's something that is just to minimize, wasted time, and then to make all the changes all at once.
So
that helps.
To pop in with a quick question, and knowing that the CSRs here at Decor prefer this method where there's red lines and edits like that, great communication. Does it, kind of playing off what you just said, does it make sense for the designer to then send just each individual page that has, or scan in each individual page that has edit, or do you guys want to see the whole document come back just so it's all in consecutive order?
That's a thing. So if you have like a super long order that you have, I don't know, 40 pages, 100 pages, and you want just to do changes to 3 items here and there, you can just scan the ones that you need.
For sure.
Just
and
the ones that you need.
the ones that you need, and you submit maybe 3 pages or 4 pages. That's all you need, and it's fantastic, because then we are not scrolling the whole document, checking. And then when you scroll, maybe you scroll so much that maybe you miss the one that it was there, and it was there, but you scroll, just there's
totally
nothing here,
happen.
there's nothing here. I have designers that they do like if it is a long document and they are going to scan it the whole thing, what they do is that they put in this first page just a note: I'm changing item 3, 4, 5, 6, let's say, spec group 3, whatever, right? So they put it like just a little note on the first page, so you can scroll faster and then just go to the page that
Very
they are
wise.
saying.
Yes.
So that's quick and fast, and sometimes because they are just very close to sign off and they want to do it quickly, and then you see it, and in 2 seconds you just do it. So that helps.
Otherwise, there's chances if they send like the 60 pages of the acknowledgement,
Without
and you don't know which pages they're supposed to be. That is good if you put a little note at the front saying, hey, I need to change spec group 6, number 4, or whatever, and then we know to look for it. A few other things related to the acknowledgement process. If you are signing the front page but making like 10 to 15 changes, we will not take that as a sign-off. We do ask that you only sign the front page if it is something that you are considering to be a sign-off, where there are minimal, maybe 1 change, 2 changes. You might even say, here, I'm signing this off. I'm just asking that spec group 1, number 5, you change the width to 23, then we are good. We will take that as a sign-off, but that if there's a whole bunch of changes, we'll send it back to you to get you to confirm it. Our current system as well does allow for assigning a date without the drawings or the paint chips being fully approved. So that is something we are able to do at this point. We are asking that you do the best you can to sign off as much of the order as possible, or as best you can without having to worry about things like that, if we can get it as clean as possible. So then we can focus on making sure the order is clean and ready to be signed off as well.
Yeah, one thing about the acknowledgements when we are back and forth that maybe it causes a lot of trouble is maybe when you have like an appliance cabinet, let's say a microwave, an oven, or something. So we just need to know like a couple of things about them. So let's say that we need to know which model number you are putting in. If you don't know exactly and you want us to do like certain openings and you can just put those and say, hey, these are the openings that I want to go for. But if you send us the model number, we will double check. But we understand sometimes we do renovations and you have like an existing oven or 60 microwave or something, and then you know exactly what you need, right? So that's totally fine. But if not, we will need to know what type of frame you need. If you want an overlay frame, an insert frame, true flash installation, and one thing that we have to kind of like play with the dimensions of maybe the drawer front below, if it is lining up with something, or maybe cabinets on top. So we need to know, especially if you don't send elevations, we need to know what part of the cabinet stays and it needs to be certain dimensions, or maybe something that you have a restriction. Let's say that you have, I just have like a space of 30 inches for this cabinet. I cannot do it wider. I cannot do it. I prefer this configuration, but these are my must. This has to be like this because I don't have more room for it, or something. We will kind of like give the options that we see available and what is the best application that we can find. Yeah. And
we do have an appliance specialist, Don Workington, as well. If there are things that we need to throw ideas at him and touch base with and say, is this going to work? Can you make sure you can draw it so everything's going to be accurate? So we do have him as a resource as well. So.
Yeah, and knowing all those details in advance, it will reduce the number of back and forth. Those acknowledgements will be cleaner if we know those details. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, when we get into the process of signing off orders. So, as I said a few minutes ago, the signature on the front of the acknowledgement tells us that you have looked over the order and it's good to go. And this is the point that we will assign a date to the order. So we will take the current lead time at that point, and that is the date that we will give that order. So you can know the week of that date that's been given, that should be the week that you will receive that order.
Yeah, so after sign off, sometimes you send changes because something got missed.
Yeah.
What do we do about that?
Yeah. So there is still a chance for you to actually make changes to the order in our current process up until the point the job has been put into production. So internally we call it being given a flow number. So as soon as the job's been given a flow number, it's considered too late because they've started cutting the parts. And once the parts have been cut, it's just not an easy process to actually make changes. So up until that point, if you do have change, let's say you realize, okay, there's been a wall that's needed to be moved or something, or we need to reduce the height of a couple cabinets, you can send those to us and say, hey, is there a chance I can still make changes to this order, which I know a lot of designers do or have done in the past. We can take a look and see, okay, where is the order at? Is it in production already? And if it's not, then we can likely go ahead and we can let you know, okay, yep, we can make those changes. We will likely make the changes, send you the order just to make sure that everything is good, just so you can have one chance to look at it again. And then once you approve of them, then we will continue on and sign that order off again. Is there anything I missed on there?
Yeah, no, the only thing is when there are major changes, let's say that you have to change the drawings, so you have to change things that it require time, maybe the current delivery date is not possible. So sometimes we have to kind of like push it a little bit, and then just maybe it will be maybe following week or something like that, depending on the changes, right? If it is a quick change, we just added that feeder or change that cabinet width or something that we can do just quickly, then it's fine. But if we have major changes, maybe we have to review if there's how production is going, how much time it will take, and
One thing we try to stay away from is if it's things like changes, if you need to make a change on a cabinet that has an aluminum frame door or anything that is outsourced, if that part has already been ordered from our supplier, we can't go back and make any changes to it. So that's something that we try to stay away from, so we don't have you making changes on items that have outsourced parts and may have already been ordered. So just something to keep an eye on as well.
Yeah.
Okay, next we'll go into tracking orders. So as soon as you've signed off an order, you can check throughout the process and have a look at the orders in process report, which is found on the DSS site under reports, and the report again is called orders in process. So what this report gives you, which you can see on the screen, you can see the work order number, the PO number, the job name, the cubic footage, and the cabinet quantity, and in the middle of it you can see the customer sign off and the arrival on or before date. So as soon as an order is signed off, we as CSRs will assign it a customer sign-off date, and at that point we also assign the arrival on or before date. So you'll notice at the top there's a list of about 10 jobs or so that do not have a customer sign-off or arrival on or before date. So these will be jobs that have been submitted and either not sent back to the designer yet, or having been sent back to the designer and the designer has not yet signed off on the order. So this is an area where you can keep track yourself as a designer and have a look at this list periodically. I recommend once or twice a week to check the list and see, okay, this job here for 3 Georgetown, I notice that it has not yet been signed off. Is there something I'm waiting on it, or can I send it into the CSR to get it signed off? So it's just a good way to check on this list periodically to make sure any jobs that you're sure you've signed off or you're not ready to sign off yet, you'll see them on this list to know where they're at. And you'll also notice near the bottom, you can see the actual arrival on or before date that we as CSRs have put in based on the current lead time at the time that it was signed off.
Yeah, I think it's a good tool just in case, okay, did I send this sign off or not?
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes maybe you thought that you sent it and you didn't, so you can check here or say, okay, if I send it, she didn't get it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So just a quick thing, hey, did I send this?
Right.
But you have the list and you make sure that, okay, there's nothing here, so for whatever reason it's not signed off, and I need it to be signed off, or I need this date or whatever. So yeah, you can just double check here as many times as you want, and then you have, like, if you have any questions about certain order, just ask us. Right?
For sure. All right, next we're going to get into when you receive your delivery list. And this will happen, the delivery list is populated once our truck leaves our facility, and then you will receive an email with the delivery list itself. Monica, do you want to go over a little bit about when you see back orders on the delivery list and what is shown?
Yeah, so usually you have, like, on the first page, if there's something that it didn't make it for the truck, or it was something that, I don't know, there was an outsourced item that didn't make it, we have, like, items that they are missing. It could be a partial, let's say a part of the cabinet, it could be the whole cabinet, and you will have that list. In the first page there will be an orange line that it will say back order items, and on those back order items they will describe the order number and the item itself, and if it is the whole item or is a partial back order, it will tell you that. And when that will be, like, if you have back orders from the specific delivery, so you have maybe a whole order and then item 1 and 3, they get back orders, so they get in that first page. The second page will be the order, the items that we are sending, all their orders, everything. And it could be happening as well that in that particular delivery we are sending something that it got back order before. Let's say the week before you didn't receive a door for this cabinet because it was pending a mullion or something, and then in this particular delivery we are receiving that. So you can see on the screen that we have completed shipped. So those are the items that they were back order and now we are sending, and it's the let's say the back order is complete because we shipped them, and it will tell you what is it. So in this case they are like a special cabinets, but it could be a partial, like let's say a door or a filler or something that was missing. So that's what you will be receiving.
Good.
So it's important to see that first page if you have back order items or it says like label like that, completed, shipped. That is that they are sending you those items that they were back ordered before.
So our goal with the back orders is to have them on the following week's truck if they don't make this week's truck. But again, if it's things like outsourced parts that may have had a longer lead time, they may be delayed a little further, so you can check with your CSR as to when they might be arriving to you. Another thing to note is we do not back order AL doors on their own, so aluminum frame doors. The reason for that is, especially sending them to the United States, there is that additional cost of the tariffs in order to get them across the border. So we do send them with the cabinet itself. So if there is a chance, and they do have a longer lead time, so if there is a chance that they will not make the order itself, what we'll do is send the cabinet with the doors attached at the later date, depending on when they are arriving to us. So that is related to the delivery list itself. Next, when the truck arrives. So what we ask is when the truck arrives to you, you will have a packing slip that will come with the truck. We ask that you mark off each of the items as they've arrived to make sure you've received everything. And if you are missing anything, make a note of it on your sheet. That will go back to the driver, and then if you could also let your CSR know as well. We do ask that you do a thorough job of checking over the list. I know there are times that something will arrive and it'll look as if something is missing, and then you might find it a few days later, a week later, and we may have already gone through the process of putting it into production. So we just ask that you do your best to make sure that if there's something that shows that it's missing or you can't find it, that you scour through the pallets or through your all your cabinets you received, just to make sure that there is a chance that it might still be there.
Yeah, you have your packing list, that is the packages that you are receiving, but you also have a previous list, that is that delivery list that it comes with the back order. So you know that the items that they are back order, they won't be on your packing list. So those are easily just to double check if and if you have something that is not back order and is not in the packing list, that's when you have to check with the CSR, because maybe they got missed somewhere, or even they are in the packing list but you don't have the items there, and maybe they were just dropped in a different place in a previous warehouse or something, or it got just misplaced here. So sometimes we find the cabin just got there, and then we find it, and then we send them following track available.
The one thing to notice as well with the packing slips themselves, each item will have a DCP number, which is like a package ID number. So you may notice, let's say you have a molding on line 14 and another molding on line 16, they may be packaged together. So make sure you're keeping an eye on those DCP numbers to know, okay, these were actually packaged together. So if I can find this molding, I should actually find this other molding too, because they will be packaged in the same package. So just something to keep an eye on as well.
Yeah, so that's the whole process of an order, and now we are thinking what happened next.
Right.
So if we want to do some job completions on warranties, we are just going over some suggestions here that you can use to make sure that everything is like what you want to order specifically.
Sure. So if you look here, this is the copy orders function. Now, sometimes when dealers need to order, let's say, an extra toe kick, or let's say a cabinet has arrived damaged, they may just go in and create a new order. What we prefer is if you go in and use the copy orders function, which is found in your Connect section of DSS. So a few of the big things related to the copy orders function. If you click on the top right, there's filter results. You can start typing in your original work order number. Now, if you're not finding that number itself, in the purple circle just under copy orders, you'll see there it says list limited to 1 year. So you can click remove limit, and then you'll find older orders, and you can start typing that work order number again. And then that's going to give you a list of the original number and all the other job completions and warranties that have been done for that specific work order. So what you can do then is you can click on the original work order if that's the one you're going to make the job completion or warranty from, and then you can copy it as a job completion, warranty, or a normal order. So in this case, if it's a warranty, let's say, you can click copy as warranty order, and then there will be a folder on the left side for every spec group that you have. So let's say you need to copy spec group 1, item 12, let's say it's a cabinet that has a door that was damaged, you can just copy that cabinet and check the box off for the cabinet itself. And then as soon as you click OK based on all the items that are needed for that warranty or job completion, it will take you to the top order of the Manage Orders screen. So there you can click on that item, and in the notes you can just put a note in stating that, let's say it's the right door of the wall cabinet that you need. You could put in a note stating, need right door only, arrived damaged. Now, if you do that, your CSR can then figure out the exact size of the door you need based on our bill of materials that we have in our system that we use. And then we can make sure that it comes across correctly. And one of the biggest things is if you use the copy orders function, it'll actually copy the header information as well. So it allows for less chance of error, because if you go in and just create a new order and then just put in notes I need to match up to this order, you may miss certain premiums like drawers, any information that may be needed from the original order itself. Monica, what's another thing that we need when they do a warranty order? For example, what do they need to send us?
Well, they need us to, if you have a picture,
Yes.
that will help us. A picture of course, an explanation of what's happening, because sometimes the picture is great, but sometimes we don't know exactly what we are looking at.
Yeah.
That's another thing that happens, that sometimes it's up too close, so
Yes.
it's maybe a flaw or something that maybe in the distance you can see it, but it's too close, and then you say, oh, there's kind of like a bubble. So if you describe it, it helps us. The quality of the picture, it doesn't have to be a professional picture.
No.
It's just to see what you need to see, right? So if it is a bubble or a little flaw, or a kind of, sometimes it's difficult in, let's say, in paint problems, like that they have like a, I don't know, like a sheen that is weird or something. Sometimes we understand that sometimes it's very difficult to catch those, but if you explain a little bit how you look at, or I try to clean it and it looks like hazy or something, you know, like that, so we can understand what's going on. But basically a picture, especially, there are things that might seem silly, but sometimes it's shipping damage. If you show us that the damage is in a corner, we can kind of figure out, oh, maybe they drop it, or maybe we package it wrong, or maybe with these straps they put them too tight, or so we can figure out things to kind of like pass that information on to our quality inspection meeting, so they will investigate the quality. They will see those pictures, and then they will do probably some training with the people that are involved, or try to improve those and try to reduce those warranty reasons for us. Yeah.
And if you can make sure that if there is damage to the outside of the package of the cabinet or the box, whatever you receive, if you can have your installer take pictures of those, just so we can see, okay, because there's times it may not be damaged on the outside of the package, but there is damage on the inside. So then our quality team can inspect a little bit and figure out, okay, where might the damage have happened, right? So things like that. And if you're doing a job completion, let's say, and you want to attach some elevations or anything like that, because it's going to be things that you're adding to a room that you already have, any information, again, that you can supply that'll give us more information, that's very helpful as well. So
yeah, it's not that we want a lot of things. I mean, if you send us the whole, let's say that they're ordering stove and a fridge that doesn't need panels or anything, we really don't need that information.
No, for sure.
If you just limit the information that we need for, you know, like the special, let's say what it is needed for our cabinetry, for our panels, for our fridges, ovens, everything. But things that there are like, I don't know, like certain appliances that we really don't need those specs. It's fine if you send us it will be just time that is wasted on just checking those that we are not needing. But it's not that we want all the documents in the world, right?
One big thing that we wanted to bring up that I don't think we brought up earlier, but as much as you can, we do recommend that you use our standard cabinets. It does help to reduce the time going back and forth, because if there's a lot of customization, there's more time that'll be added to getting CAD drawings done, just more back and forth with questions. So we do have a lot that we offer as far as our standard line does go. But if there is times that you need custom things, we can for sure help you with that. We just have to make sure it's something that production is available to do. But yeah, we do recommend as much as you can to stick with the cabinets and the parts that we offer that are within our standard offering. I think that is all for questions. Was there any or comments, I guess? Was there any chat questions that we had?
Not any new ones at the
Or did you have
moment.
anything, Monica, that you wanted to add before we...
We will keep it open for a little while longer, though.
For sure.
So
Yeah.
feel free, if you have any last-minute questions, please feel free. But yeah, if you guys had any other comments, you just mentioned the standard cabinets, which is great.
Yeah.
Yeah, if there's anything else you guys wanted to mention, we can definitely...
I do know that I wanted to mention, if you do have questions after this webinar, feel free to contact any of your your CSRs. They would love to help you with any questions along the way as far as the process goes, like we talked about, from start to finish. These are just things that we brought up today as far as things that we feel would be best to help things run smoothly, not only in our end but your end as well, to give your client the best experience they can when ordering cabinets from us. So yeah, Monica, you have anything?
Yeah, I was trying to think if we miss anything at all. Yeah, maybe about the quotes. When you have a special cabinets, you can send us the quote number, or you can send us the actual quote attached to the order. You can do both. If you have a change, let's say that you quoted a cabinet in a certain way, but then when you have put all the pieces together, you have something that is different from the quote. Just mention that. Just you can submit the quote or the quote number and just say, hey, I'm changing this because this cabinet has to be modified to line up with something else. Maybe it's a little thing like the size, but maybe it's something that is different. And sometimes the details are important in those quotes. And then we have to double check again if it is possible or not, especially when you are making maybe bigger and then we don't have maybe the material for it, or something is changing specifically that we have to double check again. So those ones, I'm not saying that sometimes maybe even after submission that you have to make those changes, but it is nice if you can add that note, I'm changing this that is different from the quote. So that happens as well. Sometimes we have quotes that it take a long time to process. Let's say that you have an idea from Instagram, and then the idea it comes to this, but then the customer sees it and they say, no, I have these changes. So maybe we have had 2 months ago a very long conversation about certain cabinet. Don't assume that the CSR remembers. Because he can remember some of it, but there will be probably that much back and forth that we don't really remember what ended up being. And for you it's clear because you have had that conversation with the customer, and then you have see the process. But for us, we have many of those happening at the same time. So sometimes just to add those details to your notes. Hey, I'm doing this, but remember, we end up going for this option or this other option. So that kind of rings a bell, and then say, okay, I remember that, and then we can make it. If not, we will be maybe, oh, how is that? And then we are doing a drawing with the incorrect information because we just based on the quote when we decided something else, or how to build it, or those details are important. If you just put some notes, it doesn't hurt a little more reading there. And I think that's important, especially when you have that special kitchen that you have many specials.
For sure.
And it's very very detailed. Right.
For sure.
And I don't know if I have more questions.
No, actually, we are all done with questions right now. Looks like I don't see any new ones. So thank you so much, Craig. Thank you so much, Monica, for joining us today. We hope those tips and tricks are going to be helpful for you, helpful for your communications with the CSRs as well. Enjoy the rest of your day then.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.
Have a great day.